your endorsement actually started music, man? Because in the old days you were playing Les Pauls.
Well, I still got my Les Pauls.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of them. I got rid of a few pieces, but I still got my classic '59. That's the big. I got George Harrison playing that guitar. We played at the Jeff McCarl shoot, so it's got a little Beatle history now too. That's been on a lot of hit records. That one.
Yeah.
It's a '59 burst, anyways. Like the Holy Grail, anyway. It's a really good one too. My buddy Joe Bonham also came over at Christmas, and he brought one of his. You know, we kind of checked him out. He's an expert.
He's an expert.
This guy knows more about guitars than anybody I know. And he looked at it and, you know, just
compared everything.
He knew all the parts, and I'm not a real gearhead, man. I gotta be really honest with you. I'm lucky to plug this shit in right. But there was never that guy that would take his. I mean, if I took my guitar apart, I'd inevitably put it back together and be like, what are these screws for? I'm the kind of guy, I could never make models when I was a kid. You know, my dad used to come in and yell, "You're not doing it fucking right." And you know, I'm just like I said, I can kind of play the thing a little bit now. I'm still working on that. But the gear, you know, yeah, man. Well, the Valley Arts. I mean, I went from like that to the Valley Arts thing in the '70s because that was my local music store.
Yeah.
And you know, I was hanging out with Larry Carlton at the time, and Jay Graydon, and Rittenauer, and all those guys, and all the studio guys would go there and get their guitars fixed, and they started making guitars. And I think I got number 3, which turned into the robot guitar once I painted it. And I still have that.
You still have it, because it was an auction, wasn't it? No?
I once put it up once to see if it might be working.
Ah,
I had never had intention.
No intention to sell it.
Yeah, you just kind of go, okay, 50 grand, let's see. Yeah. And I just kind of did it as a piss take. Yeah, that never sold. There's certain pieces you can part with and trade. I have some seller's remorse with some of the vintage pieces I got rid of.
But don't we all make that mistake?
Yeah. Well, you know, I sold it at the top of the market. I sold what I thought was the top of the market, and then it went up another notch.
Yeah.
And then it crashed. So I'm kind of okay. I got my money out of it, but I still would like to have had the pieces. Like the whole top I got a lot. So walks up and goes, "I'll give you this much." I didn't really solicit it, you know. But that's a whole other thing. And then I got into Valley Arts for a while, and Dudley Gimple was working with the guys at Valley Arts. And when that Valley Arts folded, he went to work for Sterling Ball, who's one of the best friends I ever had in my life. And at the time, they were making the Eddie Van Halen guitar, which I kind of was checking that out, and that was all going down. You know, Eddie's a dear friend. And Sterling said, "What do you I have the number 3 Eddie too. That's a purple one. It's a really good guitar." And I started getting into Music Man a little bit, and Sterling said, "Let me make you a guitar." Valley Arts is dead. Dudley's over here with me anyway, and he was the guy that was really making the guitars, or working on the guitars anyway. So I thought, well, okay. I gave him the robot guitar. And I said, "This is the neck. This is the one. This is the one that I've broken. And this is the one I really love." And so they kind of got an idea what that was, but then they changed it into their headstock. And I have 3 different versions. I have an L3, which is a loop. I decided to take my name off it because if more people would buy it, play it. If it didn't have, not everybody wants to have my name on their guitar, even if they like the guitar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, Les Paul and Leo Fender, yeah, sure. Yeah. And then PRS, okay, there's even Paul is a PRS. You know what I mean? It's like, people want to have their own vibe with it. You know, they want to have. Somebody might love the guitar. They go, "Yeah, but do you have to have a Lukather on it?" Luke, everybody knows that's it. So I could see that. I said, "Look, guys, put L3. That way, anybody that knows. Anybody that doesn't, they're not. It's just a guitar.
It's guitar.
You know what I mean?" And I put the DiMarzio pickups on it, and I tried I used the MGs for years. Still great pickups. Still have them. Still use them. But I went through 3 different phases. One with Floyd Rose, then one with the Dudley maybe.
Basically a fashion kind of the time as well.
I don't use it like dive bombing and I like the floating bridge to get for the expression of it all. I just the way I manipulate it is like my version of what taken from the Jeff Beck school of manipulation. All the other people that do, I do my own way, but it's very expressive to me. So I just said I hate the lock nut thing was a pain in the ass. It was a great thing back in the day. Floyd made a great thing. No offense to Floyd. And a lot of the guys can't do without it. Something to be said about locking and you never go out of tune or something like that. But at the same time, there's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
And then when it goes south.
Oh, well, if you have to try.
But, I think that they make, unbelievable guitars. I mean, I've tried them all, and I own a lot. I got a 15-1 Esquire. I mean, I got a lot of stuff that's cool vintage piece 335s, stuff like that. But, I wouldn't use the guitar. I wouldn't put my name on it if I didn't really play it. And it's the same one you buy at the store. I don't have a trick one.
There's nothing different timbers on it, or
that would be jive.
for you to really to the warehouse.
Misrepresenting. I have had to grab one off the wall and do a gig before, and I had it's perfect.
Yeah. So, see with your guitars, do you have like a really low setup or high setup? Because for your tone, I think it's not really that shreddy low, like you know.
You know what? There's a big myth about like big heavy strings making everything better. You know. I mean, there's an argument to a certain extent that you might get a little bit fatter on the tone, but then Billy Gibbons uses a 7, so what's that argument?
Yeah.
Like, do you think Billy Gibbons has a fat tone? I do.
Yeah.
I think it's really all here, you know? I mean, it's also a comfort zone. A lot of guys who use the super heavy strings, they either tear up the fingers or they get tendonitis. At that point, aren't you just kind of defeating the purpose because of this alleged extra tone? Why just add a little more bottom on your amp or something like that, or use a different pick or something like that? You play with your fingers, there's a fatter tone with it. Everybody sounds different. There's no magic guitar. There's no magic amp. I played some of the most famous. I played Jeff Beck's guitar. I wish it made me sound like Jeff Beck. I played everybody's guitar that I ever played. It's, you know, a Strat's a Strat. It's the human being that brings the life. Remember Larry Carlson told me, I said, shameless name dropping. I'm sorry. We paid $100. I'm making these examples so that you know that to prove the point that if you have a 330, if you play Larry Carlton's 335, you're not going to rip the solo from Kid Charlie. You know what I mean?
Anyway.
Because Carlton, you know, somebody came up and said, "Man, boy, that guitar sounds really good." And Larry looked at him. He said, "Yeah." And he put the guitar down, and he walked away from it. He stood next to the guy. He goes, "How about now?" And it's like, in other words, the guitar ain't doing nothing until I play it. That was the point.
Well,
I thought that was when I heard that. I thought that was really funny. And you know, he has the right to do that. He's fucking Larry Carlton.
Well, you know, it's funny. I've had it done with Louis' show. Louis came to me one day. He had this Valley Arts neck and a body of a Ibanez guitar which he found in a dump. And he came to me, Remco, can you fit this together? I'm like, yeah, that Ibanez is for 24 frets, and the neck is 22 frets. So I had to work on it. I thought it's gonna be a piece of shit, but I put it together and gave it to Louis. And it sounded like Louis. Doesn't matter.
Listen, a really good instrument is a plus.
Yeah.
A really good amp is a plus. I mean, it helps you dial in your sound.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. And we're all gearheads. We're all nutty. We're all trying to find the best amp, the best sound, ultimate tone. Occasionally, you'll trip and fall on it in the studio. You'll have a magic night when everything goes like this. But it changes every day. I've had amps that I used for a long time that I've sold. And for me, it was like, this doesn't work for me anymore. This doesn't make sense. But people go, well, you're going to sell that deluxe, man. I'll give you a ridiculous amount of money for it. Okay.
There you go.
Go ahead, take the amp. I mean, it's not going to, I think sometimes things age well, sometimes they don't with gear.
Yeah.
It's just me,
Well, we were just talking about it actually. See, I'm a guitar tech for an Australian band called Syndicate, and we had a show a couple of months ago, and Chris, the guitar player, was doing a solo just on the last bar of the last song, and the amp sounded great. The amp died. And we were sitting there like, man, that sound we just had, that was awesome. Yeah,
it's probably right before it blew, the tubes flared up like that, and there was some kind of a surge, and it gave us some extra love that the amp just probably couldn't handle it.
And it died sound. We were all like going like,
physics.
Wow, this is an awesome sound, and it just died on his ass. Hey, with your amps, when you approach a sound for a new song, where do you start? Do you start with settings of the amps?
You know what? It's
funny.
I'm working on my new record right now over at CJ Vanson's studio, and I just picked the Bogner. My son has a Bogner. It's a different one. I have the Ecstasy, and he has the one with the bigger. Sorry, Reinhold. Sorry. It's a little bit more of a bluesy sounding amp. It's not quite. And I just go between those, and then Yamaha was bringing the acoustic guitar. Or because I'm endorsing they make really cool acoustic guitars. I did the whole test, every single one of them in the room. That was the one that sounded the best.
Yeah.
The electrified acoustics for sure. I tried them, I A/B'd them with all of them. in a room full of people with witnesses written out there. Anyway, my point being.
Amp settings.
What?
Amp settings and approaching for tone.
No, but they gave me this little bucket practice amp and like it had like a little speaker in it like that, and I used that on it too because you get these weird sort of Radiohead kind of like things, or I just like CJ has to get these programs. We just started digging around with stuff, and you trip and fall into some magic stuff just plugged into an amp.
Yeah.
I don't use the pedal board and stuff like that in the studio. That's strictly a live thing, and Bob just made me a new switching system. Bob Retcher, this new switching system. Using all analog stop box pedals. There's no racks, there's no digital stuff.
Yeah.
But this switching system enables me to put combinations together without having to jump all over the thing like Dancing with the Stars on acid or something like that.
I could ask you for that maybe.
Yeah, well you
That's good.
can take a picture of it later.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because
these things, electronics are not your friend, and sometimes things mess up, and now it's back in order, and I can. But I'm not really using that much stuff.
No, because you really worked down, because I saw it already on the internet. Yeah. In the 80s, you had your massive refrigerators.
Well, I got blamed for all that shit, which was really kind of funny because I didn't. I think the first guy they had over at show was Buzzy Feet, and then I saw Mike Landau's, and I said, man, that's fantastic. Where'd you get that? I want to get that,
Yeah.
And then I jumped on after that. There's a couple other guys that had it, and then the first thing you do with all this stuff is like a new toy. You turn it all on to see what it'll do.
Yeah.
So you do that on one record, and if that record's a hit,
You gotta use it.
and then all of a sudden everybody wants the squishy squashy tri-stereo chorus, with delays, and I was just laughing. I was joking about that with Joe and Steve last night. They used to make these digital boxes. You go to an AM show or some show, and they said there'd be a digital box that would say like, SV. They can't use our names, right? It says SB. That's okay. That's probably Steve Vaught. Joe. How many Joes would that be? Just Luke. People go, Luke, okay. My settings, like it sounds like flanger and echo returns. There's no signal. Like, what do people really think that's what I sound like? I mean, maybe like when I first got this shit in 1984, I overdid it a little bit on records. Like it was all new. But I mean, like 30 years later, can you let me off the hook with like being the guy that has like
massive sounds?
I used to layer shit in the studio. I still do, but I really pretty much in the studio plug right into an amp and add anything right at the desk, unless it's specific. I love the little boutique pedals, and I get people give me all this crazy shit. If you get a couple of neat sounds, that'd be great. But in live, I just see what I got. I hardly turn any of it on. Little delay. I'm guilty of I like a little delay.
I'm a delay man myself.
I think that most people, if you want to blame me for anything, it might be fucking doing that shit. But, I even tuck that way back. You'll hear it in the mix tonight.
Yeah. So because
pure organic with the cable and everything. I just got sick of all of it. I wanted to be a lot more. Get my tone. Now people in the reviews are like, great tone. I love to read great tone. Because that means that it's pure. I'm not, there's not really much between the guitar and the amp and my fingers.
Yeah.
Now it's up to me to play something worth of shit. That's on me. And that's subjective. Some people like what I do, some people think I suck, whatever.
Well, I'll let you know tonight after the show.
I'm harder on myself than anybody out in the fucking video world.
But that's actually a good thing, I reckon. If you're hard on yourself, you can.
Yeah, but I'm hard on myself. I don't need to go and find some people that hate me writing nasty shit about me, so I kind of backed off. I don't go. My shrink's like, you're not allowed to go anywhere near message boards or chat rooms or anything like that because I don't need to hear how great I am. I don't need to hear how much I suck either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like let the crowd tell me I'm trying to do the best because then you become self-conscious all the time.
Yeah.
If somebody points out a flaw, all of a sudden you're playing on stage going, am I doing that? And then you get kicked off the horse. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be thinking about it. I'm supposed to be playing. Because some guy who lives with his mom who's 50 years old doesn't like me. I'm just like, whatever.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I just want to go to your delay.